introduce Rich Valway. He is the president of Culinary Services. I don't know if you have any questions for him, but I thought I'd just offer the opportunity.
Thank you. We may have, but if you just want to go ahead with your presentation.
Right. I'm here to get approval, obviously, for the contract to be signed by me for food service at Cedar Haven. The contract would be effective February the 1st, 2013, at a cost of approximately $2,263,000. To get this started, we did meet with all the employees. We met with union officials on Monday at noontime, gave them official notice of it. After that, at 1 o'clock, we met with all the employees and gave them official notice of, after that meeting at 1 o'clock, we met with the dietary employees, gave them official notice as to what was going on. I don't know if you want to talk about, or if you want me to talk about anything, what will happen with the employees as far as benefits and things like that go?
I think it would be helpful because they have a lot of questions, and through the media and YouTube and things like that, they might get some of the answers they're looking for.
Okay. We, obviously, they each got a written a notice. Their vacation balances will be paid as of the first pay in February 7th. Their vacation balances, anybody that has a vacation balances will be paid. Anybody that has comp time balances will be paid. Personal days will be paid. We also extended their health benefits to the end of February rather than February 1st. So they will be covered under the county health benefits until February 28th. We also talked a little to talk about, in general, meet with all the employees. After that, then Angel, as far as I understand, will be meeting with anybody that wants to meet on an individual basis. As far as rehiring by the Culinary Services, some of the employees obviously will be rehired. Rich is going to have a job fair. I do not have a date for that, and he doesn't have a date for that either. But he's looking for a location right now. So there will be a job fair advertised, so it will be for more than just Cedar Haven employees. It would be for everybody in the county. That will be happening for the employees also, which is a positive thing. For the next 2 years, dietary employees that do not have a position or a job will have priority to sign those postings. So for the next 2 years, after February 1st, Human Resources will be sending notification to every employee that was displaced for whatever reason. So they will know if they meet the qualifications, they have priority compared to any other employee at Cedar Haven. And that will go on for 2 years. In a nutshell, that's what we had talked about at the meeting with the employees. The contract will go into effect February 1st at a cost of approximately $2,263,000. There is an inflator in there, a maximum of 3% per year. Both of the county, our labor attorney as well as the solicitor, reviewed the contracts or the contract. They did have about 4 or 5 changes that they wanted to be made. Rich and I talked about that, and those changes were made as to what both the attorneys wanted. We do have a 90-day notice, a 90-day out for this contract. It's a 3-year contract, but we have a 90-day notice to terminate the contract if we don't see something's going right or whatever.
I think that the one question that came up earlier was your guarantee on the price. You're not going to be coming back saying, oh, we can't do this. Is that correct?
The price, the overall contract is essentially in 2 significant portions. There's fixed guaranteed cost associated with serving 3 meals a day, and snacks for the residents, and labor and our fees associated with that. There are some variable costs for events and things that would be provided that we could not forecast. And so the cost associated with that would be passed through at documented, we provide it at cost, but we'll document the backup to that. So it might be things like
One good example of that would be, you know,
Student lunches.
the student government.
Yeah, student
Right.
government luncheon.
Right now, for the last however many years, 10 years, Cedar Haven has been, we've had the luncheon down at Cedar Haven. And we can continue to do that, but obviously that's not part of this contract.
Right.
So we will be talking about that, I'm sure.
Well, and
My next question would be, we've had very good quality lunches. The staff down there have done a stellar job. Have you observed the type of food and the service that we provided, and how do you think that you'll stack up against the quality that has been provided to our residents?
That's a great question. I think from the first time we met with Ed, he was very pleased with the same statements about quality, and established that that was the number one criteria for moving ahead. Obviously, cost reduction it was one of the other mandates that through this process for this to work. But as we established a budget and we looked at the quality that was being served, we felt that there was a reasonable quality, but there is room for enhancement still. There are some system things that are not available right now that would help with resident information, processing of that information, and the translation of that on tickets or on the actual service itself. We would like to pursue opportunities for more of service in the dining room, more of a dined option, which I don't have details for. It is a goal to integrate more of selection at the point of service rather than a tray being delivered. Additionally, a good deal of the product is purchased and reheated convenience style as opposed to scratch, and so some of the things that we would introduce would be training and recipes and standardized recipes to produce majority of the product from a scratch rather than out of a can or out of a frozen tray. And so I think not taking away the quality of the program right now, but there are clearly opportunities to enhance that program as well, and that's our goal, and that's a dual mandate for us. And the expectations of this contract is there are some cost reduction opportunities, but also quality improvement opportunities that we know of, and more that we'll discover along the way and pursue with the team there.
And again,
Generally, for every position that we establish, there would be one full-time equivalent or one full-time person dedicated to that. So for instance, if we have 5 people on our tray line for that service, we would likely have 5 full-time individuals, and their days off would be filled with part-time help.
Okay. Now, I don't know if this is a question for you, but how many of the 40 employees that Cedar Haven currently has in Dietary, how many of them are full-time?
38, or 37. 37.
Okay. So you have 37 full-time and what, five part-time,
3 part-time.
3.
2 are administrative.
And 2 administrators.
Okay,
yes.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
The part-time employees are what we call our nourishment people, where they take evening nourishments, drinks, whatever.
I understand what you mean.
I just wanted to expand a bit on what Rich said about enhancement. Ed was very open with us after exploring this. Ed, when you came back to talk to us, you said you were surprised or impressed that they'll actually be able to do some things above and beyond what our staff has been able to do. And I think that's important to note based on some of the criticisms and the comments that have come down in response to this decision. So.
And Rich, we both have the understanding, I still have kind of full control as to what's going on down there. If I don't see something that I like or that I don't like, we will be talking about it that day. But they did come up, their team has been down to Cedar Haven 3 times. I met with their team, we talked about different things. We talked about ideas that I wanted 5 or 6 years ago that I was not able to achieve. And I'm hoping that they'll be able to achieve some of those. As far as service in the dining room, buffet style things like that, that's what I'm looking for.
And do you think that can be attributed to the fact that this is an area that these folks spend their entire efforts on and understand fully, where at using your employees, it's not that way?
Absolutely, they're the experts.
Thank you.
That's what we needed.
Ed, I think I have to give you an opportunity to respond to some of the comments that the employees who are being laid off made earlier. I don't know if you heard them, but what I took from it was they just felt like they were out of the process and that they were willing to make concessions that may have saved their jobs. I don't know if that's accurate or not. That's what they were telling me out in the hallway. And I'm just wondering what kind of research or analysis did you give to the current staff to see if there were savings comparable to what you expect from this contract?
Saving with this contract, I don't see how it would be possible for us to save $500,000 plus. To this day, though, and there's been many rumors going around, you know, to this day, not one person has ever come to me with a suggestion as far as what they would be willing to give up or whatever in their contract, if that's what you're talking about. I've never had that.
Did you approach them for that information?
Specifically, no. I did not approach them with asking for that information. Although, I think we have in the past. In this situation, we haven't, or I haven't, I should say.
I think some of the things you didn't hear, I don't think all the comments.
I didn't hear
there
anything.
There were some things that were suggested this morning, the uniform allowance and so on. Those would be built into the contract, the union contract, that Ed couldn't just walk across the hall and say,
Arbitrarily.
hey, how about giving up your uniform allowance? He just wouldn't be able to do that.
Well, but it would have involved union negotiations
would-
to
yeah,
get
right.
there, but I was wondering
Right.
if that approach was ever taken.
No.
Final question. How many people do you bring with you on staff?
Really our intent is, we have a couple what we feel are key skill positions in leadership that we will likely transfer internally. We will likely find an hourly team comprised of local labor. We do have some criteria that we've established, obviously, from a skill level to be able to get the program to the next step. And but generally speaking, there will be just a small number that would be transferred here. So that leaves us a good deal of open positions that we're going to need to fill, and therefore looking at everyone that's in place right now, as well as outside. But
May I press just a little harder?
please, yes.
Is a small number 2, 3, 10?
Probably closer to 2.
2, okay.
Are we ready to suggest a motion?
I make a motion that we give Mr. Schlegel the authority to enter into this contract.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further comments? If not, all in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We really would stress that we would want our employees looked at first and given every consideration.
Very good. We understand we're a small organization, and not just when we come into a community, look at caring for our residents, but it's the entire community, and we'll do the best that we can with making selections and hiring the best team.
I do have one final question. How many people do you bring with you on staff?
Really our intent is, we have a couple what we feel are key skill positions in leadership that we will likely transfer internally. We will likely find an hourly team comprised of local labor. We do have some criteria that we've established, obviously, from a skill level to be able to get the program to the next step. And but generally speaking, there will be just a small number that would be transferred here. So that leaves us a good deal of open positions that we're going to need to fill, and therefore looking at everyone that's in place right now, as well as outside. But
May I press just a little harder?
please, yes.
Is a small number 2, 3,
Probably
10?
closer to 2.
2. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
It's good to get that. Yes, John?
Have you looked at the compensation that exists now, and would yours compare to that? And
Great
benefits
question.
and so on?
Yeah.
Actually,
I think the benefit package, we've not necessarily cross-referenced every item. I do know at a high level we've looked at retirement and health and paid time off and things of that nature. We also provide part-time employee benefits as well, maybe not as robust as the current, but comparable, and in terms of the benefit offerings. The compensation, our intent would be for those employees that would come on board with us existing, we would not cut their pay to offer equal pay to where they are today, so there would not be hopefully a financial impact to those individuals.
And in general, how are you saving that amount of money?
A good deal is in reduced food cost through the process of making product from scratch as opposed to convenience. Some of it is in wages, and another good deal of those dollars come from benefits.